Welcome to my channel PSP Protect. Today we will see how Goose communication can be established between two Micom relays P442 and P141. Goose communication is actually a part of IEC 61850 protocol. It operates on the method of publishing and subscribing. Now here, through this single line diagram, we are going to explain how Goose communication will be used. Now here we are having an incoming line and a bus coupler. When the incoming line circuit breaker is operational, the load flow will be according to the red line. When the circuit breaker of this line becomes non-operational due to any failure, then we need to use the bus coupler circuit breaker to charge the main bus, and the load flow will be in according to this red line as shown. But the circuit breaker of the bus coupler gets only tripping signal from overcurrent and earth fault relay of bus coupler panel, whereas when we are using the bus coupler as an incoming circuit breaker, then we need to give the distance protection trippings to that circuit breaker. For that, we need to transfer various signals from distance protection relays. One is the single phase tripping, three phase tripping, as well as auto reclosing. Now this can be done in the conventional way through a lot of complex wiring, which need a lot of time as well as a lot of material. But when to get it simplified, we can use Goose communication, which does not need any wiring between these two panels, and only a LAN cable is required, and the process is much more faster than the conventional way. Now, as you can see through this schematic diagram of Goose communication, that there are two panels. One is the line panel, another is the bus coupler panel. What we need to transfer from the line panel to the bus coupler panel is various tripping signals: three phase tripping, single phase tripping, and auto reclose function, which need a 12 core cable and a lot of wiring. But to remove this wiring and use the Goose communication, we need only one Cat5 or Cat6 LAN cable, which will connect both the distance relay and the overcurrent earth fault relay, and we need to switch the trip transfer switch from the normal to the transfer mode. Then all the soft digital signals will get transferred to the bus coupler panel overcurrent and earth fault relay, which will then operate the circuit breaker of bus coupler accordingly, and will operate in the same way as an incoming breaker should operate. Now let's see what are the configuration that we need to make for Goose communication to get established. Now we are having two panels or two relays where the configuration need to be done. One is the line relay, another is the bus coupler relay. So line distance protection relay is going to publish, and the bus coupler relay is going to subscribe to those signals. So for that, the first thing we need to do in the line relay is we need to make the signals, Goose signals, available for the bus coupler relay. So for that, first we need to configure 5 virtual outputs. These 5 virtual outputs will be first 3 for 3 single phase trippings, which are generally used in case of zone 1 fault where auto recloser function will operate. In that case, only a single pole will trip, and then with the auto reclose signal it will get reclosed. So 3 single phase tripping for 3 phase will be designed through 3 virtual outputs or Goose output signals, 1 3-phase tripping and 1 auto reclose output. So these 5 virtual outputs we need to design first in the PSL of the incoming relay or the distance protection relay. Now when this virtual output will be given, this virtual output will be given only when trip transfer switch is in transfer mode. So we need to take one opto signal also of the trip transfer switch. So, and we are going to make the AND gate for the signal, the distance trip signal and the trip transfer signal. When trip transfer signal and the distance trip signal both are available, then only the virtual output will become high. Otherwise, when trip transfer signal is not available and only distance, single phase distance tripping signal is available, then it is not going to give the make the virtual output high. So this is the PSL which we need to make the virtual output high in case the trip transfer operation is in force and the distance trip signal is also issued by the distance relay. Then this virtual output will become high and which will eventually get transferred to the bus coupler panel or the overcurrent earth fault relay of the bus coupler panel. So 3 single phase tripping outputs are configured through these 3 virtual outputs. Now one virtual output will that is virtual output number 4 will be designed for 3-phase tripping. Here also we are going to make this output high along with the trip transfer signal. So when trip transfer signal as well as 3-phase tripping output is given by the distance relay, then only this virtual output will become high. So for all the virtual outputs, the TTS transfer signal is necessary. If TTS transfer signal is not available, then no virtual output will become high or none of the signals will get transferred to the P141 or the overcurrent earth fault relay. And another virtual output which is needed is the auto reclose, is for auto reclose. That is, in case of auto recloser, the auto reclose close command will be given by this distance relay only, and that will get transferred to the circuit breaker of the bus coupler through the Goose communication. Other settings will be the normal settings which we have already shown in earlier videos. There is nothing, no other settings need to be changed. So basically two things need to be changed. One is the PSL, where virtual outputs will be assigned, and another is the MCL file. Now virtual outputs are assigned. Now these need to be carried to another relay, and that is done through this MCL file. MCL file, when opened, it opens in the IED configurator. Here, first of all, we need to unlock and then give a name to the IED or the MCL file of the IED. So here we have given IED underscore line. Then we need to give the IP address of the relay. As the line relay or the distance relay is going to give the tripping or auto reclosing command, so it is going to publish the commands. So for that we need to first create a data set. Now this is the SNTP server for time synchronization, where we can give the IP address of the SNTP clock which we are having. Next, the most important thing is the creation of the data set. So data set which we will create will have the 5 virtual output signals which we have already created in the PSL. Here in this system we need to select the Goose output signals, because this is going to make the signals out from the relay. So in the Goose output signals we can see first 5 we will use in the data set. So we can take a number of signals, but here we are using only 5 signals for the data set. And then we need to configure the publishing, Goose publishing, because this is publishing the tripping commands or any of the digital soft signals. So first we will click on this publishing, and here we just have to give the hex code. We can give it 1, and then we have to select the data set which we are going to publish through this Goose output. So we can configure a number of data set at a time, and all that can be used at the same time. Now here for this relay we don't need to create any Goose subscribing, we need to only create the Goose publishing. So it is done, and now we are going to validate the MCL file. On validation, the one thing which need to be kept in mind is that there should not be any error or warning. Warning can still work, but errors will not allow the file to be transferred. Then we have to use this file for this MCL file for the P141 or the work and earth fault relay. So we need to convert this file into CID or ICD files, but here we are doing it for Micom to Micom Goose communication, so we can use the MCL files directly. Otherwise, for Micom to ABB or Micom to Siemens relay, we need to create an ICD or CID file, which will then be which will import in those relays. So we are creating a CID file, but we will use the MCL file only for the P141 relay. Now let us consider a configure. So configuration of the incoming line is complete. Now what we need to configure is the bus coupler. So for the bus coupler P141 relay or the overcurrent earth fault relay, let's first configure the MCL file. So we'll configure the MCL file first, and then we will use those virtual inputs to the PSL. So here also in the same way we need to unlock and then give a name to the MCL file. We need to give the IP address, SNTP address, etc. But here we don't need to create any data set, because here we are not publishing the commands or we are not publishing the signal, but we are going to subscribe to the signals. So we'll directly move on to the Goose subscribing. So this is a one-to-one, one relay to another relay communication through Goose. In the similar way, it can be done with a number of relays connected in a network, and Goose communication can also be done in that case also. So for this, now for subscribing to the signals, we have to configure each of the virtual inputs. So we have first opened the virtual input 1, and we need to map which signal we are going to take from the incoming line MCL file. So for that we need to click on the browse, and then we need to select the file. As this is here both are Micom relays, so we are going to select the MCL file. So directly we are going to take it from the MCL file of the incoming relay. So as you can see, I have selected the MCL file, and now I'm going to find the incoming relay. Now we need to select which virtual input I am going to map for this virtual output I am going to map for this input. Here you can see I am having these 5 outputs of the distance relay. So virtual output 1 I am assigning for the virtual input 1. Similarly, virtual output 2 will be assigned for virtual input 1 of this relay, and in the same way 5 virtual inputs will be assigned for the 5 virtual outputs of the distance relay. Now you can see all the 5 virtual inputs are assigned for this P141 relay, which is going to subscribe to the soft signals published by the incoming panel distance protection relay. So now we are going to validate it and save the MCL file. Now virtual output inputs are assigned. Now these virtual inputs need to be mapped for the output relays, and that is done in the PSL. In the PSL, we need to assign 3 outputs for 3 single phase tripping. 3 outputs for 3 single phase tripping, which will be connected to the virtual input 1, 2 and 3. Virtual output, virtual input 5 will be assigned for auto reclose. So one output also need to be assigned for AR close command. And the final virtual input 4 will be used for 3-phase tripping. So we are going to directly connect that to the 86A and 86B. So in this way we have first mapped the virtual inputs in the MCL file, and then these virtual inputs are connected to the output relays of the P141, which is actually going to give command. Output relays are actually going to give command to the bus coupler circuit breaker, and it will operate according to the fault which will be sensed by the distance protection relay of the line. So in this way we can very simply use the Goose signals for the purpose of trip transfer operation. Here we are first of all by using the Goose command or the Goose communication, the time of operation becomes very fast and we don't need a lot of wiring, which sometimes becomes very problematic in case of tracing the wiring afterwards. So it is the simplest way in which the soft digital signals can be transferred from one relay to another, and the beauty of Goose communication in IEC 61850 protocol is that it can be transferred to any relay irrespective of any of the make, whether it is a Siemens relay, cell relay or a ABB relay, all can be used interchangeably. The only thing which need to be assigned is that the relay must follow the IEC 61850 protocol. Another important thing in the setting we need to change is that we need to enable Goose in the ID configuration setting, and then we need to send all these three setting, PSL and MCL file to both of the relay. We need to send all these three files, setting, PSL and MCL file, to the relay, and Goose communication will get established. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.